Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. This video I do the I Dare You tag. I was tagged in a video by Nigel Reading Ideas. I actually did this tag once before. I released the video on July 8, 2025. Decided to do it again when Nigel tagged me. However, although I'm not going to look at that video that I previously did, there are some cases where I'm pretty sure that my answers would be the same now, so I'm not going to answer those particular prompts here. I'm just going to say that I'm just going to say that they're the same as the previous video. So I'm only going to answer some of these prompts, most of them, but I'm not going to answer all of them the second time. It appears this tag started 9 years ago, and I couldn't find the originator. The first prompt is, what book has been on your shelf the longest? I could never come close to answering that question. When I've been doing some decluttering for a long time, some of it my cellar, and I'll come across books, some not in good shape, but from quite long ago. So what I decided to do is pick a book from, it's been, as far as I can tell, it's been one of the longest books in what I consider my more modern period of reading. And that book is Geekerella, a novel by Ashley Poston. This book is copyrighted 2018, and I probably got it not too long after, because I think it was prominently featured at Target when I got it. And I'll just read what it says. Geek girl Ellie Whitmer lives and breathes Starfield, the classic sci-fi series she grew up watching with her late father. So when she sees a cosplay contest for a new Starfield movie, she has to enter. The prize, an invitation to the Aethercode cosplay ball, and a meet and greet with the actor slated to play Federation Prince Carmilla in the reboot. With savings from her gig at the Magic Pumpkin food truck and her dad's old costume, Ellie's determined to win unless her stepsisters get there first. Teen actor Darian Freeman used to live for cons before he was famous. As you can, I'm sure, guess by the title, this is a Cinderella retelling, and you could probably justifiably say there's too many of them between movies and books, but I still think this book is interesting with a geek at the center of it, because I consider myself a geek too. The next prompt is, what is your current read, last read, and the book you read next? I'm actually currently reading 4 books. One is The Genius Bat, The Secret Life of the Only Flying Mammal by Yossi Yovel. Book mainly focuses on echolocation of bats. The second is the Starfarer series, books 1 to 2, Starfarers. Transition by Vonda and McIntryre. This is a book that is only early in it, but it's talking about there is this massive ship which is designed to travel out amongst the stars, and it's also a time of political turmoil. There's those, including the U.S. president, who's anti-technology, who wants to use the ship for military purposes. The third is She is a Haunting by Trang, Tran. In this book, there is a young woman who is in the fog going to start college, but she needs funds, so she is a child of immigrants to the U.S., Vietnamese immigrants. Her father went back to Vietnam to start up a tourist hotel, to refurbish a tourist hotel, and she goes there because she wants to because he has promised to pay the difference that she needs to go to her first year of college. As you could probably tell by the title, it is a horror novel. And the fourth book is Threads of Aethercode by M.J. Ruchinski. This book is kind of a hard one to describe, but it's a YA novel where the three girls are kind of sucked into a, I don't know if we'll call it virtual reality, but something along those lines, and they have to try to get their way out. I don't follow it 100%, but I am quite enjoying it. The third prompt is, what book did everyone love but you hated? This isn't a book that I truly hated. I thought it was just okay, and it's also not true that everyone loved it. It is a revered classic, though. And that book is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. This particular version, edited by Carmilla Machado. As I said, it wasn't that I hated it. I rated 3.5 stars. I thought it was okay. It just wasn't, with so many people loving this book, it wasn't one that I loved. I do want to give it another chance, though. It is a vampire novel that predates Dracula, so that's of interest, as I love Dracula. The fourth prompt is, what book do you keep telling yourself you read, but you probably won't? I can't think of anything different than the book that I believe I said for the first video. The fifth prompt is, what book are you saving for retirement? I am retired, but there weren't any books I saved for retirement. The sixth prompt is, last page, read it first or wait till the end. It's definitely wait till the end. I try my darndest when I'm sometimes looking to see how the total number of pages in the book to not read anything on the last page because I don't want to know. The seventh prompt is acknowledgement, waste of paper and ink, or interesting aside. I think it's an interesting aside. I read it. One example where I saw something interesting was in Crying an H Mark by Michelle Zauner. She wasn't particularly happy with some of the actions of her father. And I noticed that in the acknowledgments at the end, she did not mention her father. So I found that kind of interesting. I mean, it is true that it's mostly just a series of names, but I don't think it's remotely a waste of paper. It's worth finding like the little nuggets to read through the lists of names that you probably never heard of. The eighth prompt is, which book character would you switch places with? I would switch places with Lestat and the Vampire Lestat, but only in the rock star aspects of him, not the other stuff. I just, even despite my advanced age, I still have kind of rock star fantasies. So Lestat is someone in the Vampire Lestat lived those fantasies. Not that there's not some value of the other stuff being immortal and stuff like that, but it has drawbacks. But just thinking of the rock star part of it, I still fantasize myself. Actually, sometimes it's like in a rock band that I fantasize. Sometimes I'm a famous DJ, something I've never actually come close to doing, but that's why I pick Lestat. The ninth prompt is, do you have a book that reminds you of something specific in your life? Place, time, person. I don't remember the name of the book, but at the beginning of the first semester of my junior year of college, I was kind of having doubts that I want to continue the path I was going. I was studying electrical engineering, and I was just having doubts that I wanted to continue to do it. And I remember like going to, I think I might have skipped some classes, just going to like a back nook in the library and just getting engrossed in a book and just kind of to distract me from that and pass the time. Ultimately, I figured I was too far along to change, and I did continue electrical engineering, and it did work out well for me. I was able to make good salaries, although I did lose some jobs. I was able to get other jobs. Without, I never came close to running out of my reserve funds. But I just remember like that time, a few days in the library, like in a back corner of the library, in a little cubby, in a little cubicle, just reading whatever book that was. The 11th prompt is, have you ever given a book away for a special reason to a special person? Mostly when I buy books for people, I buy them from their Amazon wish list, so they are books that the person themselves, believes they want to read. Occasionally, I will give books to people that I like myself a lot and I think the person might want to read. One thing I don't do that I know some people do is I don't give a book to a person to try to sway them to my political opinion when I know they differ from that. I do know people who do that, or at least I had a coworker who did that. I think that's just the wrong approach. It's not going to work. I don't do that. When I give a book to somebody, it's a book I think they're going to like. As I said, if it's not on their wish list, but the ones I choose myself are ones that I've read the book and know about it, and I know the person's taste. The 12th prompt is, which book has been with you most places? I can't think of anything different from my answer in the first video, so I'm not going to answer that here. The 13th prompt is, any required reading you hated in high school that wasn't so bad 2 years later? I've never reread any books that were required reading in high school. And there's only one book I ever hated, and I believe it's a middle school book. It's actually Lord of the Flies by William Goldman, which I haven't reread. Been curious about trying to reread it, seeing if I thought differently, but I think that was a junior high school book. But regardless, if it was, I didn't reread that yet either. 14th prompt is, used or brand new? Brand new. I'm kind of perhaps overly I'm overly concerned with books being in like kind of pristine condition as much as possible. And although I could get used books that way sometimes, I like to get new books. And I just actually enjoy shopping for new books. I mean, it's not like I've never shopped for used books. I know you can find treasures that way for cheap, and overall they're going to be cheaper, so that's a positive. But I'm fortunate I've been able to afford the books I bought. I've never gone into debts. I'm just fortunate in that way. The 15th prompt is, have you ever read a Dan Brown book? I have read the Da Vinci Code and one or two others. I don't recall how far I got in the series. I did like them. I know there's a new one out not long ago. People that I follow on BookTube don't speak very highly of it, though. So I'm not particularly planning to get it, but did enjoy the books. I know that they're, I can understand why people don't necessarily like them, but I did enjoy the books that I read by Dan Brown. 16 prompt is, have you ever seen a movie you like better than the book? I have not. I'm just a believer in my experiences that you always got to read the book first, and the movies I like best are the movies that I think fairly close to the book. So I have never seen a movie that I think's better than the book. Now, if I was first and foremost a movie fan, I might think differently, but I have no experience of that. 17 prompts. Have you read a book that's made you hungry? Cookbooks included. I don't recall a book that's made me hungry. I mean, when somebody talks about some food I like pizza, it makes me think of it. But it doesn't make me like go out and get pizza. And I wish I could say I'd read a cookbook, but I don't cook. 18 prompts. Who is the person's book advice you'll always take? Well, if my friend Louise said that, there was a book she read, she loved, and that I should read it, I really like it, I would take her advice, but she wouldn't put it that way to me. She would just suggest it. There are many booktubers that I respect their opinions greatly, but I don't actually, when people say you have to read this book for various reasons, that kind of gets my back up a little bit. Like I say, if Louise did it, I'd be fine with it, but most people, there's some booktubers I see who just think their way is the only way, and I kind of don't like that. The 19th prompt is there a book out of your comfort zone that is out of your usual reading genre that you end up loving? My comfort zone is pretty broad, so I don't recall any. Of course, there's always a first book in any genre that I read, but I don't recall most cases it's many years ago, but I don't recall being surprised reading a book that's out of my genre. I forgot to answer a couple of parts of prompt 2. One that I forgot to answer is the last read book, and that is Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. A quite enjoyable YA romance, but it does deal with some serious topics. And the final part I forgot to answer is the book you read next. I'm not really totally sure, but there's a couple books I want to read soon. The first is The Maid's Secret by Nita Prose. I really like the Maid, so I picked this up at the library not long ago. And the second is Devotions by Mary Oliver. I want to read more poetry. Picked this one up at a recent library visit. The 20th prompt is to tag people. First, I'm going to tag anyone watching this video. I'm not going to tag my normal tag list because I tagged a bunch of people when I did this tag for the first time. I'm only going to tag a couple people that weren't watching my videos at that time. Those 2 people will be in the descriptions of the video. Just if anybody wants to answer one or more of the prompts in my comments or video of their own. If you can't think of anything else to comment, please add an emoji. I'll let you choose the emoji. Nothing immediately comes to mind. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.